Bob, how are you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
You sound good. You must have a nice mic up. I think I see it up
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I got a little lapel mic or whatever you want to call it. Works a little
Sound
bit
good.
better than a microphone on the camera.
That's a fact. I figured that one out. Obviously, I've already gone through the battery of one of these, so I was glad I had two.
Yeah.
But welcome back to Hardin Local. We didn't really leave, but we've done 11 interviews of our 13 in the election marathon. So Bob's number 12, and I am glad to see you. I'm also glad that I'm almost done. It's been a long day. Started at 1 o'clock, and now it's 7 o'clock. My name is Phil Tall. Joining me now is Bob Mahanna. Is that how you pronounce your last name?
Yes, Bob Mahanna. You got it correct.
Great. And he's running for Radcliff City Council. So same format as everybody today. Every candidate in your race gets the same questions, same order, same timing, same sponsor. And we have here at Hardin Local the same sponsors, the Plumbing Doctor and Omni Design Group. More on them both in a few minutes. Bob, thanks for being here. Let's dig in. So you're running for Radcliff City Council. Why this office specific?
Well, I guess the main reason we're good to get on to Radcliff City Council is I've served the city for 38 years on the fire department, actually 40 years on the fire department. And when I left last July, it was an easy decision to say, I need to get involved. I need to stay involved. And a Radcliff City Council seemed like the perfect fit for me, somewhere where I can actually make a difference, and I could be a part of doing something that's much greater than myself, and then try to help out the city itself. So I want to be a part of leadership.
All right. I knew you. Now I remember. I had forgotten we'd met at the fire station back in the day before.
Yeah.
I'm good with faces, not as good with names. But briefly, let us know, did something happen in your life that led you to run now?
I don't know that I would really say that it was any one particular thing that happened in my life that, I need to run for council. It was more really of two reasons. For years, I've seen the city council. I've watched them either online or actually in the council chambers for their meetings, and I've really just not seen the issues that are coming up being really addressed completely. And then I've lived here my entire life. Like I said, I've been on the fire department, and even interacting with people through the fire department, I was actually able to see people that said, we have these concerns and they're not being addressed. And that at that point, right before the filing deadline, I said, it's time for me to step up. It's time for me to do something more that more important than myself, and to serve the community. And I just want to step up and be a part of fixing that.
All right. What in your background most prepares you for being on Radcliff City Council?
Well, probably one of the big things is I got about 38 plus years of experience in safety compliance and operational leadership through my professional work. Obviously, the fire department was volunteer work, still a professional organization, but I was a volunteer, not a paid position. Currently, I'm in a position where I'm actually managing environmental health and safety over 5 different locations in the distilled spirits industry. And these were everything from bottling to distilling, warehousing, what have you, restaurant and hospitality. It gives me an opportunity to work not only with the hourly employees, but also with our senior executive leadership team, preparing budgets, preparing performance reviews, and obviously a big part of my job is in compliance. So during my professional career, I've led incentives to reduce workplace accidents, reduce workers' compensation costs. We've reduced our cost over 60%, and that's a huge savings to a company. So being budget conscious and opportunities to save money and knowing how to go about doing that, I think are big pluses for me. And again, as I said, on top of that, the community, I've lived here for my entire life. Served as a firefighter, as I said, and as assistant chief. Got 3 life-safe commendations, and I understand this community. I know this community. I've been around this community on both a professional and a personal standpoint. Coached high school softball for North Hardin High School. I coached travel softball teams. That has always prepared me to be a good leader, and I hope to be able to do that on the city council and provide some leadership and to the city of Radcliff.
All right. If voters only remember one thing about why they should vote for you, what is that one thing?
Excuse me. I'd say again, it's my whole career is about being making decisions where people are held accountable for things. There's decisions that have to be made about a person's personal safety, and I will bring that standard to the city government and making good decisions that hold people accountable, and also decisions that protect the city's residents, and the city's visitors.
Okay. Quick break. Today's election coverage is brought to you in part by the Plumbing Doctor, a family-owned Hardin County plumbing company run by Glenn and Tracy Downs right here in Elizabethtown. Over 20 years serving E-Town, Radcliff, Fort Knox, and Hodgenville. Fully licensed and insured, 24/7 emergency service, and a 10% labor discount for military, first responders, and seniors. Look, showing up to vote in the primary on May 19th is one way to take care of your community. Another way is whenever you have plumbing issues, call on your friendly local neighborhood plumber when your water heater goes out or other plumbing issues. When your pipes go, call local, call 765-PLUM, that's PLUM, that's 765-PLUM, the Plumbing Doctor. Experienced, reliable, and affordable. All right, Bob, first, say you do win this race, first 90 days, what's the first concrete thing you do in office?
Well, I think in the first 90 days, we got to sit down at least two of the council members are going to be brand new because there's 2 vacant positions. So I think in the first 90 days is sitting down as a group and getting with the leadership from all of the department heads, particularly police, fire, public works, and start asking the hard questions and start asking, where are your gaps at? What gaps do you have? What can we do, and what can we work on to help you as a department manager and a department leader to do your job better? And then at the same time, we need to engage with the residents. What's important to the residents? Now, I've been doing throughout my campaign little talk at different locations. I did a Facebook Live talk that was very popular. And you learn a lot from the citizens, what's important to them. And it's not just the same thing from everybody. Everybody has a particular want and a particular need. And I think getting together as a group and for me as an individual is to getting with these folks, find out what's going on, and start laying out a plan. Again, 2 of the positions are going to be brand new positions of 6. So that's 1/3 of the council that's basically going to be brand new. So it's going to be important in the first 90 days to get the input from not only the city employees and the department managers, but also from the citizens of Radcliff, and start from there, laying out a good game plan to make Radcliff better and better.
All right. The next 2 questions I'm going to combine because they're pretty short. Is your campaign self-funded, donor-funded, or a mix? And then after that, where should voters go to learn more about your campaign?
Okay, so it is a mix. I started out self-funding my campaign. People started coming to me and said, I want to donate. And I was, at first, I was like, no, I'm going to self-fund. I don't want, people to have to feel like they donate. But people wanted to donate. So I've taken those donations. Again, I want to be clear that none of my decisions are going to be based on who provided funding or who didn't provide any funding towards the campaign. That's not what it's about for me. It's strictly about what's best for the city of Radcliff.
So where can we find out about your campaign at?
A couple of places. One is I do have a Facebook page up and running. It's Bob Mahanna for Radcliff City Council. Another way is to email me at Mahanna for Radcliff City Council, gmail.com, and that is the number 4. So Mahanna, number 4, if you will, City Council at gmail.com.
All right. Put the name of your Facebook page out there. We'll have to get that other information put up when we put out the standalone video.
Okay.
But before we get into the city council specific questions, a big thank you to our second sponsor today, Omni Design Group. Omni is a second generation builder based right here in Elizabethtown. Josh Branningham and Corey Jewell, born and raised in Hardin County with deep family and business roots in the county. They handle new construction and remodeling across residential and light construction. Any size home, any size reno. No project is too big, no renovation is too small, and no idea is too out of the ordinary. They're the team that built the first storage container commercial structure in Hardin County over at Heartland Mini Golf. So if you got to build a project or an outside the box project rattling around in your head, call or text Corey at Omni Design Group, 270-769-8339. That's 270-769-8339. Corey at Omni Design Group. Locally owned, locally built, custom thinking. All right, let's get into these race-specific questions, Bob. The first one is basically the council's job in plain language. So in Radcliff, the mayor proposes the budget and runs the day-to-day. The council approves ordinances, confirms appointments, and votes the budget up or down. In plain language, how do you see the council's job? What should a council member be doing every week that a resident doesn't necessarily?
Well, one of the things I think the most important thing that a council member's got to be doing is getting out there and getting information. They got to be prepared. They got to when the meeting starts, everybody has to be 100% prepared for that meeting and bring with them either support for or items against whatever's being proposed. And that real work happens long before a vote's ever taken. We've got to have council members that are prepared. We've got to have council members that have done their homework and council members that are ready to vote and take action. We can't have council members that just show up at the last minute, sit down, and the first time they've looked at the agenda is when it was sitting in front of them. That's not being prepared. I think it's very, very important. And throughout my career, I've always had to do that. Taking compliance data, taking injury statistics, any of those incident investigations, all of those in order to try to make decisions. And these are decisions that are not just a happy-go-lucky type of decision. These are decisions that can affect a person's well-being. And I take that very seriously. And I think a city council member has to take their job very seriously. We're spending our money. When I say our money, I'm a resident also. So it's my tax money, it's your tax money, it's everybody's tax money. And I think we have to be responsible in doing that. And the only way we can do that is to be prepared when we show up.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the Radcliff budget. The current Radcliff budget is about $18.3 million, with the biggest line item being police at 6 and then fire at 3.8 million. And then you got public works and parks and recreation, which are 1.6 and 1.5 million each. When you're sitting on the council and that budget comes across your desk, what are you looking at first? Where would you push for more investment? Where would you hold the line? And what would voters in your neighborhood notice if you got your way?
Okay. For me, it's fairly easy. I am absolutely going to start with public safety, with our emergency response folks, our police and fire, and then take a look at infrastructure. So, I kind of lump the city maintenance into that category because those are very, very important. Streets are very important to everybody. Given my background in safety and emergency response, I understand exactly what happens when resources are stretched too thin. So for me, it's going to be a focus on those core values. Now, youth services and recreation is just as important to citizens. It's depending on who you are, what age you are, whatever that you like to do, that's just as important to you. So we're still going to vote for that. But for me, it's a non-negotiable for public safety. And that's police, fire, and our public works. I'm going to push for smart investments in our infrastructure and preventative type of maintenances, along with keeping our police and fire at the high level of response abilities that they have currently, and to improve them any way that we can improve those. If I get my way, residents are going to notice that we're going to have a very strong emergency services. We're going to have better maintained roadways, and a city that's being run with discipline and not just guesswork.
All right. Next question is about long-term residents and military families. So Radcliff is about 22,000 people strong, living right next to Fort Knox, and military families rotating out every few years. That's both an economic engine and a unique community dynamic. As a council member, how do you think about serving both long-term residents and military families who might only be there for 3 years? And are there specific things the council can do to make Radcliff feel like home faster for new families?
Oh, absolutely. So it's an interesting question because just this past week I was talking with a family and I asked them, how long had they lived in Radcliff, and they'd only been here a very short time. And I said, why did you choose Radcliff? They said, well, we got out of the military. We had been here before, years and years ago, stationed at Fort Knox. We liked the community, and now we're back. Those are the things that we want to do. We want to make people want to live in Radcliff. That make them want to come back to Radcliff after the leave. Fort Knox is a vital part of what we are in Radcliff. It provides our diversity that we have in our community. When you take a look at like our cultural festival, the International Festival, we have all different cultures here in Radcliff, and Fort Knox is a huge part of that. We've got to take care of our military families. We've got to make it to a place that they want to come back to. We've got to improve our communications with Fort Knox. We've got to strengthen those relationships that we already have with Fort Knox. And we got to make services that are easily accessible to those. Those folks that I was speaking with had told me one of the things that they found when they come back, that they really didn't have any good resources. They didn't know who to go to, who to ask. We've got to make those things available for them. And we should never have someone asking, I don't know where to go. We should always have that in front of everybody. No one should feel disconnected by living here, even if they're only here for a few years. So we've got to take care of our military and our long-term families. I am a long-term family. I love Radcliff. I've lived here since the day I was born. I've had opportunities to make a lot more money at jobs in other places in Florida, Texas. I didn't want to go to those places. Radcliff is home, and this is where I want to be.
All right, perfect. You ended right at 2 minutes on that one. Next question is about ordinance priorities. Recent Radcliff ordinance work has included things like short-term rental tax, code enforcement ordinances, and also update to city services. What's a specific ordinance or policy area you'd push the council to take up in the next 4 years? Something you hear maybe from neighbors that you think the council could actually do something about?
Probably one of the most common things that I hear from people is how the city looks. So I believe we got to focus on consistent, strong code enforcement. Don't piddle around and say, okay, well, they'll get to it. Well, they're not getting to it. And we have some rundown parts of the city that we need to get fixed, that we need to not no longer extend permits for completion of things. Code enforcement needs the handcuffs removed from them so that they can go out and do their job. They're great individuals. They're dedicated individuals, and they need to be able to do their job. They've got to be able to do that consistently, and we don't want to lower our standards. We want to make sure that we're strong. Again, with my career in compliance, it works best when it's applied evenly. That same principle can apply here. If we want to people to invest in homes in Radcliff and in neighborhoods, we have to enforce standards consistently that makes everything look good.
All right. So we're coming up on the last question here, which will be about working across boundaries. I just want to let you know, I'll ask that question, then I'll do my closing, and I'll let you close us out. You'll have 90 seconds to give your best elevator pitch of why people should vote for you. But we'll first do your last question. The council doesn't operate alone. The city works with other municipalities and also works, with the county and with the county and also with the schools, the sheriff's office, and other neighboring cities. Where do you think Radcliff needs stronger working relationships, and how would you, as a council member, actually build them?
So probably one of the greatest things that we have working for us is everybody knows that Mayor Ogden and Mayor Duval and Mayor Gregory have built a super strong relationship over the last 4, 5, 6 years. And that's really showing because the reality is if one of us prospers, we all prosper. Whether it's a new business that comes to Radcliff, or it's a new business that goes to Vine Grove or Eattown, we're all going to prosper from that. So maintaining that relationship that's been built upon is probably the most important thing that we're going to do as a council over the next couple of years. Again, in my career, I've my professional role, I've always worked with regulatory agencies and corporate leadership and external partners, and it's hard to align people on the same vision. But in order to do that, you set goals that can deliver results, and those results we can apply those same things to everyday life in the city and operating the city in our partnerships. And our partnerships, the partnerships don't need to just exist. They have to produce some type of results. And I think we're seeing the results of those now. So building those relationships and working hard towards maintaining those relationships is going to be vital.
All right, Bob. Well, thank you for being part of the Hardin Local Election Marathon. We'll drop your contact info in the comments of this post. And if you want to do that as well, you can. I think I have all your contact info, but just in case, maybe send me a text after you get off the stuff you want me to put on there.
Okay.
And I'll do that. Coming up next at 7:30 is our final interview of the marathon, which for me, I'm ready for it to be over, but I'm still excited to talk to Terry Owens, who's a candidate for mayor of Radcliff. So stay with us. One more thank you to our sponsors, the Plumbing Doctor at 765 Plum and Corey at Omni Design Group, 270-769-8339. Bob, go ahead and give us your best elevator pitch. You got 90 seconds.
All right. So as I've already said over and over again in this interview is I've spent my entire career in roles where failure is simply not an option, where safety, accountability, and results matter every single day. I have served this community for 40 years as a firefighter. I have led teams that reduced risk and delivered measurable results. I'm not running to just simply maintain the status quo. I'm running to bring discipline, accountability, and real progress to Radcliff. I appreciate your support and your vote. I'm number 10 on the ballot. Just remember, when you go in, vote for the perfect 10. That's me. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for your service at the Radcliff Fire Department. Yeah, I know earlier you said that's a paid position, but I still see it as a servant issue because, nobody's in that to make money. But really appreciate what you've done there over your career.
Thank you.
Also, wish you the best and the most luck on May 19th. And I hope you have a great Derby week, and be talking to you soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.